And welcome everyone to Nerd TV for another Martin Sports Full Throttle Sim Racing Truck Series race for race three rather, of round of 16 here at Bristol. And it's a nice cool night here in Virginia. 79 degrees on the track, 76 in the skies, 46% humidity, partly cloudy, and no wind to be accounted for a short track. So we're all good to go there. And my name is Jay Swifty on the socials, or Jeremy Stanley if you know me in person. Jason Rockefeller to my right, and then to his right for the first time joining us, Mr. Daniel Paulus Jr. So Jason, first and foremost, how are you doing this evening?
Doing good tonight, Jeremy. Ready for this cutoff event here for the round of 16 tonight. This is going to be interesting. Got a few storylines obviously coming in. We'll have to see how it goes about, but I mean, it's Bristol, baby. What else can you really say? There's been a lot of recently drivers coming in, coming out, and stuff like that. We have some drivers who are looking to point their way in, like Tony Solari tonight into the round of 12, only being a few points out of the cutoff line tonight. So probably the word of the night, I'd say, is probably going to be survival more than likely.
I was talking to Tony right before we jumped on here and whatnot, and he was saying it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him. He's not too sure. He was hoping there was dirt on the track that would really help his chances, but not tonight. It's going to be on the asphalt, or concrete side, rather. Daniel, how you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And it's kind of cool. This is probably the second time, I think we're just trying to recall that, second time we've ever had a third person commentating. So a little bit of change of pace here, which, said welcome aboard, and hopefully everything goes well here tonight. And how well do you know Bristol?
Well, I actually ran Bristol earlier today, and the first thing that I noticed is the first few laps when you're racing here, it feels pretty normal to me. It's not too tight or too loose. It's just right for me. It's balanced. But further on in the run, I noticed that the grip level started wearing away, and that was around with 20 to 25 laps in. That's when I started getting really loose and had to make different changes to my truck. But other than that, it's pretty good here, but you don't also want to start getting drivers upset around you because it will retaliate on you.
Yeah, it's quite easy to get those short track tempers flared up, and especially in the playoffs here, you don't want to do that, for multiple reasons. You don't want to take out a guy that's for the championship, and if you're not in it. And speaking of the championship a little bit too, there's only 18 drivers here on the track tonight, which for Bristol I would expect a little bit higher car count, but right now, being the track, it's not going to be so overflooded with cars or trucks rather. I mean, this might be an example of a pretty good solid race here for the FTSR boys. And I don't know if Dustin has a microphone. I know this is the first time. Dustin was saying this is the first time we've not had his name on the screen ever for a broadcast because we're so full of talent here tonight. Dustin, do you have a microphone live?
I do.
How are you doing over there in the production booths?
Ready to get it going here in Thunder Valley. I mean, what better place than the last true Coliseum, as they call it. One of my favorite short tracks. First iRacing win came here way back in the day. It's going to be good. I'm going to sit here and second on what Jason said. He said the key tonight, the word tonight is survival. I'm going to say the word tonight to go along with that, to add for a second one, is loose. I see a lot of loose trucks out there, a lot of sliding, a lot of spinning, so they only have about a minute left to get these things dialed in, Jeremy, but either way, I think we're in for one hell of a film.
Yeah, 100%. And just to kind of touch up on the points one more time before we go to qualifying here, the top 8, the top 8? Yeah, the top 8 are locked in by points, right? So all the way down to 8th place, Stephen Allen. That's Lane Allen in the server, truck number 14. He's locked in. And then really close to being locked in is 9th place on back, Tommy Schaefer, who's above the cut line by, was about 15 or so. And there's 18 trucks out here. So by technicality, he could lose it if he wrecks out early. But, of course, we don't hope for that. But just notate there's going to be, up to 8 different trucks fighting to not get canceled out, entering into the round of 12 next week. And we have a newcomer on the track too, speaking of which, owner of Top Split Setups. Hopefully I pronounced his last name right. So I got Alexander Encarnaciao. I think it's Encarnaciao. You have to correct me on that, whoever's listening in. But he's right now P2 on the boards, and not too surprising considering he's owner of a setup shop. But there he is, and there you see the checker flag. And Brody Hanna sneaks in kind of late in this practice session to take the checker flag for practice. And we're going to jump it over to qualifying here. So this is our time to get our cameras off your guys' screen. And we're going to try to tune into this number 23 and see what he can do here in qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, obviously, what Brody Hanna can do, picking up the win just 1 week ago at Kansas, locking himself into the round of 12. So we'll see if he does, in fact, take a qualifying time here late in the going. And turns out he's going to go on track right now. And it's going to be interesting to see because, like I talked about, he's already locked in. So this is kind of just, something to improve his points heading into the next round, per se. But he's coming to the green flag here this time by, Daniel. Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to run just around that inside middle lane here, like I mentioned before. You see when you're coming off the corner, you don't want to brush the wall. It's just going to hurt your speed throughout this run. And he's already locked into the playoffs, like you mentioned. If you're locked in, don't try to wreck yourself. It's not worth it. And you see right there, he's going to get loose. He's going to come around. And that is exactly what I was talking about earlier on, is when I started racing more and more, I just kept getting looser and looser, and it was hard to get around those corners.
It is so tricky qualifying here at Bristol, coming from the bottom. Like, you have your tires pre-built up with temperature, or not temperature, but tire pressure. And it's so loose early on. You don't have the heat in the tire. And when you go up those banking transitions, you weight shift, and the suspension doesn't like it. And it sends you around quite easily. But thankfully, since he's locked in, not locked in. He is locked in. I'm sorry about that. Since he is locked in, he can have a little bit of leeway and not have to start up in the front. Passing is very difficult here in Bristol, so starting up the front is going to be really detrimental to see how well your night is going to go as we're on board the 00 here. Tyler Brown, he's going through turns 3 and 4 here, heading to the start-finish line.
And he's only got, an 8-point gap over Tony Solari, so Tyler still needs to be very consistent here coming into this race tonight, no doubt about it. He's been one of those drivers. It's kind of like a hit or miss if you really think about it, Jeremy. I mean, he's had some really good runs, had some top 3 finishes. Him, here and there, I meant to say. Tommy Schaefer obviously has done really, really good, that being his teammate. So he's going to have a good night. And I will say this, one storyline coming into tonight for the last couple weeks was J.P. Burns. Was he going to be able to advance on points? Was going to be away on vacation. Turns out he will not be making the next round of the playoffs. He will definitely be eliminated after tonight because he will not be in attendance for tonight. So we'll have to see. Already one driver eliminated tonight. Who will those other 3 be?
You never know who it's going to be. It's Bristol, baby, and it's the Great Coliseum. So, like we said before, it's going to be heated up. It's going to be tensions rising tonight. And we're going to just see these drivers fight, and it's just going to get so aggressive towards the end of this race. I have a feeling that we're going to see some drivers that are very upset because they got eliminated, and we're going to see some drivers saying that they got a victory because they move on to the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I know one of those drivers, Tony Solari, he's really looking forward to see what he can do. Pretty good at the short tracks, but, it's Bristol, like you said. So it's a complete wild card track in my book, and we're on board here, the 42, Kyle Milliken. He's going to get one of his laps in now. One of 4 drivers remaining to take a lap time around this track. A couple guys on the track right now. Sylvain Jolly, the 08, also joining in here in the final minute of qualifying. So once these guys take their lap times, it is going to be complete as we go through turn 1 and 2 here with the 42. First lap of 14.903 puts them P11 on the boards. Goes through on the bottom of 3 and 4 to the start finish line. Clean lap here, a little low exit, moves them up 1/10 or so. 14.798 puts them up to P10.
Yeah, and Kyle Milliken's got nothing to lose here tonight, Jeremy, because he's not in the playoffs compared to the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series on Mondays, where he clutched up at Daytona in a regular season finale, was able to advance his way into the playoffs, and so far, he's been running pretty good in the playoffs from Darlington to Kansas. We'll see how he does, but here's Sylvain Jolly, another driver not in playoff contention. So he's just out here for the heck of it, and he wants to have a good time tonight. Started out this season pretty strong. Then as the season progressed, kind of had some struggles. We'll have to see where he ends up here tonight, but currently 11th up on the board.
One of the drivers that I said is not currently locked in, that 33 Sherwood Rilliford. Look at him starting in 16th place. He had a really good practice time, so he probably just had a bad qualifying session there. But if you're trying to advance, you got to be in front of these guys to maintain your spot. And he's got a decent chance, but technically he still can't fall down. And starting in the back's not the way to go. But qualifying is officially complete. And newcomer to the FTSR Martin Sports Truck Series, Alexander and Carnesal will be taking the starting order P1 here tonight as these guys get onto the track. We'll go down the starting order here real shortly. And as Dustin puts down the old camera down pit road, I love this view every single time. We're going to go ahead and get that starting order underway. The 94, Alexander and Carnesal is going to start P1. Michael Blackner is going to start in second place. Brandon Gagnon in third. Tommy Schaefer in fourth. Brody Hanna is going to start in fifth. TJ Bartell sixth. Lane Allen in the 14 will start in seventh. Eighth place will be Richie Coy. Ninth, Tyler Brown. And tonight's 10th place truck, Kyle Milliken.
Rounding out the rest of the field, you got 11th Sylvain Jala in the 08 machine, 12th Robert Milikian, and then you have 13th Marshall Johnson, 14th Justin Diltz, 15th Tony Solari looking to have a solid night and point his way into the next round of the playoffs. You have Sherwood Williford there in the 33. He'll start 16th. Stephen Hollingsworth, 17th on the board. Ryan Chapman, strong run last week at Kansas, finished P2, starts second to last tonight. And rounding out the field, the number 2, you got Alan Duranco in that Sim Seats machine.
And we got another lap before we're going to go to green flag here. We got our IROC 93.5 driver here. Ryan Chapman, been very dedicated to this camera angle all season long for us. And we're going to get a pretty good view of what he's got in store. Starting in the back of this field, one of 2 drivers not to elect to take a qualifying lap, as he's going to start on the outside there above the 11 and the 25. Going down the back straightaway here. Hopefully these guys got their belts pulled tight. This is going to be an exciting one. It is playoff season. It is cutoff time. After this, 4 drivers will be eliminated, minus JP Burns. Who will be the other 3? We will figure that out in 200 laps here. Pace car is down. Green flag is out. And the Bristol 200 is underway.
Here they come into turns 1 and 2. You have Alexander and Carnico. He's going to shoot out front right now with Blackner. Gagnon, they're side by side in the back of the field. Heading into 3, Blackner clears them. They're still double wide, this time off 4.
As you see right there, you saw the 23 right there on the front stretch get loose, and he's still battling for third.
We saw him loose in qualifying there. And early on, you got to get those tire pressures built up, and he's feeling it on the inside line. That's the 23, Brody Hanna, who was the fastest truck in practice here. Some good 2x2 action still inside this top 5 area. 88, TJ Bartell leading the inside there under the 23. 23's teammate, 19, Richie Coy, following him on the upper side of this track. And then Lane Allen's going to run the middle, which, you know, by now, Bristol is progressively banked, so you can run the bottom, middle, or top. It does not matter. Wherever your setup is built for, that's where you're going to, guys, see that. Oh, we got one truck. Kyle Milliken of the 42 noses it into the inside wall right at the start-finish line, and already on the 5th lap, our first caution presented by Rusted Jim's Coffee.
I want to say that was really Jeremy all just purely getting on the throttle too early. The back end of the truck started to come around here, and we'll take a look, Dan, to see what happened here coming off 4.
Yeah, as we see right there, you saw the back end of the 42 come around, and I think we're going to see this more and more as the night goes on. It just happens here at Bristol, and when that rear comes around, they just can't correct it at all. You're just going along for the ride here as we're on board with the 42. He gets on the apron right there, so something tells me that just that little bit of apron just turned him around there, but when you're running that low line, it's going to happen to you.
Yeah, you got to get to the bottom of the track if you're going to run the bottom there and try to maximize moving up on the corner exit. But, yeah, a little apron touch there. Too much transfer of banking and sent that 42 around. and squared up the nose on the inside wall, which he did not hit that hard. It is a short track, so I mean, I don't think anything internally is going to be messed up. It doesn't even look like any visual damage on my end on that nose, so I think he's just going to get some four fresh sets of virtual Goodyears, which, if you don't know by now, 4 total tire sets they bring with them each and every single week in the truck series presented by Martin Sports. So they got 3 behind the wall left over for him, and it looks like he's going to elect to take his first set 6 laps in.
And that's just a really, kind of interesting thing. I mean, this is a long race. I mean, 200 laps around Bristol can feel like an eternity. But, the fact that he's already going to be having 1 set down here coming into the pits. These guys were only provided 3 sets of tires here tonight, just like they are every single week. So you have the ones on the truck you start with. So we'll have to see here. And, I mean, that 42 machine, he's going to have to start from the back, only ran 5 laps under green, basically. So I don't really see here, Dan, this 42 machine is going to be coming to the front, even with fresh tires, because it's just so early on in this run.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. He's not gonna make it up to the front. He might gain a little bit of ground because he has fresher tires, but we're gonna go back to what you said about the tire situation. They get 3 sets of tires, and look at him. He already used a set. So that's gonna hurt him tremendously during the end of this run. Who knows? If he gets caught up in another wreck, that's even gonna be more worse. So we're just gonna have to watch this 42 go through the field as we see the 94 on top then.
Yeah, that's newcomer Alexander and Carnesal, and wall riding the top here. There's a disconnected wheel we're getting reports of. That's why we're seeing him come across the track, and it's causing some issues with Tyler Brown. He's got the back up. They're going to extend this caution here by another lap and figure out what's going on. But yeah, wheel issues early on for newcomer Alexander. Trying to get it connected. Does not look like he's got it. Oh, wait. There we go. We finally got him moving. So we'll see if he gets put in the tail end or gets to resume in his starting spot.
I assume they're going to make him start at the rear here, possibly just because of that incident, having to extend the caution. Technically something that was kind of, avoidable. I've had my wheel disconnect once here, not here at Bristol, but it happened to me once at 1.5 miles. So you can imagine what my reaction was, something with the words of O-S-H-I-T possibly. So, yeah, you could put that in and spell it. But here we go, coming back to the green flag. 5 laps completed under green. We'll have to see, Jeremy, if we can get any more here.
It held at 1 more lap, so we're going to go green next time by. They want to make sure the 94 is good to go, which is kind of a shame, man. Coming into this league, running really fast, and, you want to show the new league that you joined what you're worth, right? And then having wheel issues not even 10 laps into this thing, it almost caused some trouble. The 00 Tyler Brown hit him in the back bumper just a little bit, and you don't want to see that. So hopefully that issue is completely resolved, and thankfully that happened underneath caution, not during green flag situations, because he's been up in the top 3, top 5 for the start of this race. And if you have wheel issues, then you could be collecting a big one here early on, but thankfully not the case. Pace car is finally going to dip down. So that means the number 22, Michael Blackner, is scored as your race leader here. Going to the green flag. It is out. He's going to get a half a truck length advantage over Nerd Motorsports driver Brandon Gagnon. But he's going to get a great run on the bottom and makes the pass right there on the 22. So at the line, if the 38 does complete the lap as your leader, this will be your 3rd leader amongst 2 different lead changes in 12 laps.
And Gagnon tried to do a little bit of a diamond effect, let the car kind of start going up from the outside, dipping it down low there off turn number 4, but he was able to clear the 22. Everybody starts to get single file, but back here, Richie Coy battles with his Freer Motorsports teammate Brody Hanna into 1 and 2.
As you see, the top 3 are now single file moving forward. As you see, the 19 of Coy and the 23 Hanna still. 19's loose. He's gonna come up the track, and round he goes in front of the field.
I don't know how he didn't hit anybody there. 1923 teammates, Fury Motorsports, involved in this second caution early on. And first and foremost, I don't know how Brody didn't smash the wall. And second most, I don't know how when Richie came back down, no one collected him. We're going to catch it on the TV replay. Loose, over correction. Boop. Brody's like, whoa. And then everybody misses Richie as he slides back down.
Excuse me, that was very, very interesting there. coming off turn number 4. And you notice something too. And the first thing that went through my mind when I saw him spinning, Jeremy, these trucks and what their setups were, because we don't see that out of Richie Coy. It is